physical body. Then, with the teaching and the preaching of the Word of God, was a spiritual food. Now we've come to another important session, which is to have the knowledge about our health. And every first Sunday of every month, we're going to do health talk. Last month, we did health talk and we talked about mental disorders. It was a general topic. Today, we are going to zero in on a topic that is very important, that is depression. I remember when I was a kid, I used to hear the word depression. Now I'm a grown man, I still hear depression. And I strongly believe in the near future or distant future, I'm still going to hear about depression. So I have here with me a resource person who is going to help me to dissect and digest depression. So I will hand it over to him to introduce himself.
Very much. My name is Kweku Kumsen. I am a nurse at Pantan Hospital. I'm also into addiction care, so we take care of people with various forms of addiction. Yeah, from material stuff to substance use. But I specialize in substance addiction care. Yeah, so I'm from Pantan Hospital.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kingsley, for honoring our invitation to share your wealth of information about depression. What I have a pyramid of questions, though they are harmless. The first question I would like to ask is, what is depression? If you can elaborate on that for us.
Okay. Before I answer your question, when we talk of depression, it's a part of a cluster of sicknesses. We call them mood disorders. Um, for instance, somebody gets malaria, they will get headache. Yes, so headache is like part of the malaria, but we will treat the headache separately and we treat the malaria. So depression is part of mood disorders. So we have various forms of mood disorders, but then depression is the one part that is currently the second leading cause of disability in the world. Yeah, so it's really rampant. So it's the second leading cause, and then it's part of mood disorders. So we talk of mood disorders first, and then from there we can hit on the depression, so that we get a full understanding of what exactly it is. Um, Mood disorders. You know, we all have various moods. There are times you are happy. There are times you are not happy. Yeah, we all have various moods. There are times you don't feel like talking to anybody, though you are not sad. You just want to be alone. Yeah. Children are different from adults, teenagers, and co. A child may not feel too good, but then literally play through it. But then adults are different. So mostly at the age of 18 and above, mood disorders can be diagnosed, because by then people have understood culture, understood various forms of life. Right now, as we hear, if a kid starts jumping around, it's okay, right? But then let's say the apostle gets up and start jumping around, we all be like, hey, then because we feel he's old enough to know that per culture certain things might not be done. So these things help in diagnosing these things. So mostly age and culture affect how we diagnose these things. And the major depression is the biggest form of depression. So when you talk of depression, we have it in three folds. We have the mild, the moderate, and then the major depression. So for instance, in pain, we have small pain, average pain, and then very severe pain. So the major depression is the most chronic one, and it affects about 800,000 people yearly. So you can imagine it's very rampant. So depression is basically the continuous feeling of sadness or low mood for a period of 2 weeks that affects your work and social functioning. So as we are here, you are sad to the extent that now you don't go to work, you don't function socially as you used to. When it happens continuously for 2 weeks and affects your work and social functioning, we can then classify it as you're having a sickness of that sort. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your opening remarks. So, if I'm having an emotional disorder for a period of 1 week, say it is a
No,
depression.
no, it is not. You see, when I was talking, I made mention of culture. For instance, somebody loses a child or loses a job or or like they lose something valuable to them. What happens? You don't expect the person to be dancing around that few weeks. They will definitely be down. But then when this downness goes on for too long, 2 good weeks, and then it starts affecting your work, your social life, then we know there's a sickness. We need to take care of it. But hey, there are times you are broke, especially government workers. When it's getting to the time, middle of the month, some of them is like, oh, they are down. They don't really go out a lot. They don't do a lot because they just want to be careful. Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. The next question is, then how would I know that Mr. Asumene is having a depression? What are some of the signs and symptoms that we can observe to know that Mr. A or Mr. B is having depression?
Okay. Um, if he can move to slide 6, so I can demonstrate something to you. Slide 6. 6. Keep going. Yes. So if you look on the screen, you see we have the signs in different folds. So we have the emotions, the thoughts, the physical, and the behavior. So when somebody has mood disorders, it comes in different folds. Your emotions, we talked about feeling low, sadness. Okay, so the people will be sad, they will feel guilty, some will have mood swings, some will be irritable. The least thing, they get angry. People say, oh, here you come. I come here before. The least, when you are hungry, the least thing you get angry. Yeah, it happens like that in some instances. But in the issue of depression, the individual is well fed, but the individual just get angry over nothing. So they have that emotional aspect, and we have the thought aspect where their mindset, how they think. So at the hospital, we have various assessment tools we use to crack these cases. So the individual's mindset, how they think about themselves, how they think about the world, how they think about things around them, how they think about their own death, how they think of their own worth. We assess all those ones. And then the individual's physical being. You could see a very athletic looking human being, and the person looks so down. The person cannot even like walk for 5 minutes. The listening, I'm tired. The next moment, the person doesn't even sleep, or when they sleep, they don't want to wake up. Yeah, so there are various signs and symptoms, and then they go from your emotions to your thoughts to your physical being to your behavior. So your behavior, when I spoke of it, I told you that it affects the individual's work and social functioning. So the individual is now unwilling to do anything. The person used to go to evangelism with us. Now he doesn't even show up in church. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. You can call his phone 15, 20 times. They won't respond. You can send a message. They will read it, but they won't reply. Their behaviors keep, and some of them too, they end up growing lean or growing too big or becoming unkept. They won't brush their hair. They won't take care of themselves. They look so dirty. They are difficult to be around. Yeah, so these are some of the signs and symptoms.
All right, thank you very much. So if someone is experiencing this depression and the person is to go to the hospital, how do you diagnose? What are the processes? So diagnosing the person to know that indeed the person has gotten this disorder.
Okay, in healthcare, we work with history. Okay, as we are here, you have a family, you have somebody closest to you. The person knows how you are a bit. So from that history and then what you are doing now, and then the things you're doing in the house. So we ask for those histories. And because, as I said, we have assessment skills. So the assessment skills will determine that, oh, this person is having mild depression. This is having moderate or severe depression. So your history, as in your pre-morbid personality, how you were before the sickness, we assess that one, and then we compare it to your current state. Take a child or a youth who is very vibrant, outgoing, and all that, assist in the house. He's always with everybody, like keeping everybody happy. Then 1 minute, this person just goes off, doesn't talk to anybody for a whole week. The second week, you a parent, it will bother you. But there's another child in that same house who doesn't even talk to anybody. He just comes up, hello, goes into his room, and So that child does that for a whole week. It's okay because that's how it is. But then the other child who is always around, cracking jokes and all that, when they change, be like, okay, I'm worried now. So these things help us to know that there's a problem somewhere, and we are able to filter it via interviewing. So we talk to the person extensively, we take history, and then when we take history, you'll be able to know what has happened, and then you intervene.
All right. And one may ask, are there different types of depression?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
When we talk of depression, we have one that we call the major depression. That one is kind of chronic. A lot of people have it, and that when you are feeling low or you feel sad and then anxious and guilty and all that for a minimum of 2 weeks, and it's affecting your work, that qualifies for the depression. And we have the dysthymia. Dysthymia is a low grade one. So this one, when the person is feeling this low mood and not working and everything, that affects the person for 2 weeks. This one, it goes all the way to 2 years. So the dysthymia, the person will be that sad and all that for 2 good years. Okay, and we have the bipolar. The bipolar one, the individuals have two ends. 1 minute he's sad, the next minute he's happy. So they have mood swings. So they can be sad at a point, and then they can be extremely happy at another point. Okay, so those ones also happen. And we have some that the individual is depressed not because there is some problem, but because of some medication they've taken. Those who take heroin and other substances, alcohol and stuff, sometimes the medication can cause the individual to be depressed. So this one is substance induced. So you manage to manage this, you need to take away the substance, clear the system, and then you start therapy. And we have some that are also based on the person's condition. For instance, somebody is so happy going all, and then 1 minute he gets an accident and he's going to lose one limb. It's going to affect the person a lot. So these are some of the differences in the depression. And some women also do suffer it when they lack support at home. Some also do have it when they have babies. When they give birth, they do have these things, and it's all because of the estrogen drop. When it drops, it makes them tolerate a lot of things. So when they don't have enough support, they just end up switching into a long period of sadness. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You made mention of bipolar. In recent times, we've been hearing of bipolar on social media where people are experiencing that. Can you shed more light on that for us?
Okay. When we say bipolar, it means a person has two different moods. Okay, we have a manic mood and a depressive mood. A manic mood is a state where you are extremely happy for a period of 2 weeks plus, and then it's affecting your work and everything. Okay, and then the depressive mood, which we already talked about, but here they alternate. So this week or this month, this person is so sad, so down, he doesn't really want to do anything. He doesn't go to work, he doesn't want to bath, he doesn't just want to do anything. Then the next few weeks or so, he just gets up and this person is all over, giving money out, working, doing this. He come to work when we are supposed to close at 4, he's still staying till 9 p.m. He's doing things he's not even been asked to do. They are doing overtime and all that. And then after a while, they switch back to the sad part. So they alternate two moods. So people like that are quite dangerous because sometimes when they feel worthless with their depression and then they switch to the other mood, they end up giving up a lot of their resources. So they never know not only. Yeah, so most of them they run themselves dry. Yeah.
Last month we were told that we don't have any cure for mental illness, and with a bipolar, is there any medicine that can control it or cure it, or there's nothing like cure for them?
Oh, there is treatment. There is treatment, but then it's not like malaria that you just be like, oh, take this tablet for 3 days and after 3 days you are done. It's not like that. No, with this we have talk therapy. So the individual goes for counseling and all that. The individual, they are put on medications because mind you, our mood, they are affected by our hormones. if you've ever used your hand on something before, you feel some electric jolt on your hand. If you ever use your hand against something, that electric jolt, yes, they are impulses. Okay, these things, our body runs on a lot of these things. They are low or they are too high. When they are too high or too low in their system, they cause a lot of misbehavior. So medications are given to control their production, whether so that they monitor you don't go too high or you don't go too low. So yes, there is treatment for them. But then, from what even the preaching we had today, we all have a part to play. Though you are on treatment, you also need to take care of yourself. Some people, they take medication, when they are doing better, they stop. And then when the symptoms come again, they go back to the medication. When you do that, sometimes you worry yourself. So you do talk therapy and then you do the medication. So yes, there's treatment for these people.
Thank you very much on that. What is the age bracket for those who are likely to get depression? As I earlier on said, growing up, then times was like the aged. When you hear of somebody having depression, then the person is old enough. I don't know whether it's still the same, or a young person can also get depression.
As I said, people, it's mostly diagnosed after 18 years and above. Mostly diagnosed because of culture and hormonal changes. Because teenagers and children are treated differently and they express themselves differently. The things you can tell me about you, a child might not be able to tell me. So we are able to diagnose those things 18 years and above. We feel the person is an adult enough to meet cultural differences.
Very well. What about the issue of women getting depression more than men? If it is true, what necessitates that?
Yes, it's true. Mostly it's common in women than in men. But then people will say women are emotional, but it's not like that. Mind you, a woman will have a baby, she will take care of the house, she will cook and everything, and still go to work and come back home and still continue to take care of the house. But the man will just give money and get up. Some men just get up and leave home. And this woman, above all this, okay, comes back, and then this man comes and he doesn't appreciate her. You cook and be like, my catchers are coming to me. I don't want your food. I'm okay. He steps out, I'll come back at 10. He doesn't show up. So women mostly experience this because of the challenges they face in society. Society look upon them as the weak ones, despite the effort they make. Some also feel underappreciated, and some the pressures. People will tell you all sort of things, and these pressures will cause them to break down quickly. But most men, a married man will go and cheat, and people will see it and be like, "Oh, but a woman who is not even married tries something like that, and it's chaos." So society pressure all affects these things. So it puts them on a state where they experience this pressure so much, and then the pressure then causes them to break down. So yes, it's common in women than in men, but it's not because they are weakless, but because of the society issues and then personality and hormonal issues.
Yeah, let me do a follow-up question on what you just said. One may ask, what are the causative factors of depression? I mean, I know that it might vary and there are a lot, but what are the major ones, if you can elaborate on that?
Okay, so there is no pinpoint cause for depression, like malaria, mosquito will bite you, you get this and get malaria. No, there's no pinpoint cause, but then there are contributive causes. So lifestyle is part. Okay, lifestyle, substance use, stress, how you handle stress. They are the things that precipitate these sicknesses. So that we don't have a specific cause that, oh, this yellow paper will cause depression. No, we don't have a specific cause. But sometimes the person's lifestyle, the person's how the person handles stress. Yeah, and then some sicknesses. You see, when I was mentioning, I said earlier, somebody is up and going, the next minute they're cutting off one of his legs. Just that change in lifestyle can cause the person to switch. Somebody is doing well, he's got a good job, money is coming. 1 minute, Charlie, we are laying off workers and bye bye. It's going to crush him. So these are the lifestyle changes that also contribute to this, and people are unable to handle this stress, so they end up breaking down. Yeah, so there's no pinpoint cause here.
Thank you very much. I've also heard that when women reach menopause, a lot of them enter into depression. How true is that?
Well, that's the hypothesis, because depression is common in younger ones than older ones. Yeah, we the youth, those in their teens, the early 20s, early 30s, they have it more than the older ones. You see, most people prefer company. Most people prefer company. So when the individual is left alone, when the individual feels neglected, they crash easily. Most people, when they enter menopause, because of the hormonal changes, they end up to be frustrating a bit. They talk too much, or they easily get angry with things, and then they complain about everything. So people are like, okay, well, let it be, let it be, let it be. So people, it then ignores them often. And when these people are more ignored as often as they do, sometimes being alone crashes them, and then they end up sobbing into these things. And then they'll be like, oh, they will be remembering their dead husbands and so on, that if this person were here, I would have been better. And then they'll end up going into grieving state, which then affects them the more. So it's just the matter, like how we treat them in their communities. You know, an old woman will be here, her child will die, and people will not look at what killed the child. Or some people will even be pointing fingers at the old woman, forgetting that that child going somewhere probably died of something else. So these things affect them. So it's the community lifestyle, how we treat them, how we relate with them. They are the things that sometimes causes this thing. So it's not like a pinpoint. It's just a hypothesis. There's no vivid scientific background.
Very well. So, is it not true that when you are aging, you are at risk of entering into the zone of depression?
Well, you and I and our fathers have the same risk, because what causes it is not pinpointed is this, but then we know that lifestyle, hormonal changes, stress, and other things will contribute to this. Substance use will contribute to this depression. So you and I, if we are not living as healthy, and then an older man who is living healthier will be fine, and you and I will suffer it. So the age is not necessarily a matter, but once you crash 18 and you are going, you are at risk, because cultural impact will be on you. The scorn you will give to a 16-year-old will not be the scorn you give to a 32-year-old. There will be different scorn. So the pressure will be on the 32-year-old, because he feels, hey, I've gotten to this age, I'm supposed to do this, society is demanding this of me. So these pressures can crash the individual. So it's not about the age, but it's about when you clock 18 and you're going, we are all in the same soup.
All right. So the very moment you clock 18, then you are at risk of getting depression. So the question is, how can we prevent depression?
Okay, so preventing depression is just about you learning how you are. You see, we are different individuals, different things stress us. I brought this paper out, wanted to write things that stress us out. If we had written it, you realize that everybody will write something different. Some people, when they are broke, they are stressed. Some people, when they have too much money, they are stressed. So different things stress different people. So depending on what stress you, you have to learn to handle your stress well. Some of us don't know how to talk to people. When issues are bothering us, we just keep it to ourselves, we don't open up. So having good communication, good family companion, having good friendship with people is a way of enlightening our lifestyle. Lifestyle modification, when people are able to go for walks and all those things, doing meditation, join fellowship like in a church and other things, they modify these things, they prevent some of these things from happening. I read a journal, and in that journal it says that Catholics are least likely to suffer depression than other people, because they have too many groups in their church, like too many groups. So, and they fellowship Monday to Sunday, so every day they are doing something, you are meeting people, so that companionship, it keeps you encouraged. But when the lifestyle is not the best, then it affects all of us. So we need to modify our lifestyle. Substance use, some of us, we are adventurous, we want to try every substance we meet. Those things can harm us. So when we don't try those things, and then we work on our lifestyle, we do suffer for, we stay away from diseases, and those diseases also don't then end us up in places where we end up feeling sad and then getting depressed.
Thank you very much. I have exhausted all my questions, so um, if there's anybody over there who would like to ask any question, you can raise up your hand and we give you the mic. And my resource person is well um, versed in this depression topic and is ready to answer your questions. So the floor is open. Any question? Depression is all over around us. Our parents, our families, our colleagues at work, you know, they are all having one way or the other depression. So any question?
There's a hand at the back. Well, thank you. That's quite how will I say this? A local stuff. When we say broken heart, some people like how people get hurt. Yes, we understand people get hurt, but when you get hurt, how you handle the hurt, that is where it comes in. Your girlfriend leaves. It's up to you to realize that, man, probably she's not the one for you. How you handle her leaving. Oh, there can be people around you. I don't know if you ever felt this. There can be people around you and you still feel lonely because the people around you don't share your interest. Yes. So broken heart issue is about how we handle it ourselves. So how we handle problems. When we were talking, we mentioned that people should learn to open up, talk about things. Some people don't know how to talk about things. So there's something bothering you. When Reverend was preaching, he made mention your experience will teach somebody. When we're able to talk about things, people can use their experience to help us. But we don't talk about things, we hold things in our hearts, and then we're unable to overcome certain things, and then they lead us to some state. But really, broken heart causing depression is just a little bit overboard. Yes, sir. Okay. One thing with Africans, we feel that everybody should know what we know, or we just go like, "Why are you doing this?" Then we just ignore you. We have to learn to be patient with people, and we should encourage people to talk. And when people tell us they don't want to talk about something, we shouldn't force them. We should allow them. When we give them room, whenever you want to talk, I will be there to listen. But when we come and we want to talk to you and you say you don't want to talk, we go away, and when they come, we also close the door to them. Now, so we should encourage people to talk. When they are not ready, we shouldn't force them. And also, when we know of anybody who could be of help to them, we should get those people close. You can tell somebody, "Oh, Reverend, let's take a walk." You take a walk with a person. Maybe you don't need to talk. You just go on a walk or a drive or go and sit somewhere. But to walk, okay, looking at people can inspire the person. But some of us, we want to force you to tell us exactly what is wrong when you don't even want to talk. And that causes them to close up the more. And some of our attitude, some of us don't know how to respect privacy. Somebody tells you something, the next minute everybody is aware. Hey, you know what this guy told me? We have to learn to respect their privacy. They tell you something, keep it in confidence. If you want to share it, let them know. Oh, they are kind, they are making. They will know what to share with you that you can say. But some of us, we don't know the difference between issues you should keep secret and issues you shouldn't keep secret. So we should learn to work on those ones. Please, I hope you are okay with that. All right, thank you. Yes, please. Person-centered way. Get them help. encourage them. Let them know there is help for whatever they are going through. Let them know that is not the end. Because some people, it happens that they feel worthless. They feel like the world is over. So when you let them know it is not the end, there is help. You get them help. We do home services too. So when you get there, we can get a clinical psychologist to even come and visit the patient in the house. Some people don't want to go to hospital. The fact that he's going to part-time, people will say I'm insane. So they won't go. They won't go. So we can also get the help to the person in the house and all that. So we can do those ones to assist. Well, temperaments, yeah, sometimes they help people, but then these are issues of the mind. So whether you are sanguine, a melancholic, a phlegmatic, or choleric, you all suffer from various illnesses. So temperament may help. When we started, I told you if you have two kids in the house, one just comes in and then locks hello and enters the room, and the person is suffering, you won't easily notice. But some temperaments, they make it easy for you to detect that, there's something wrong with this person. But some don't make it easy. But then we equally suffer illnesses.
Yeah. Any other question?
Yes, sir. Balances in our life, yeah. Sure, it causes suicide. People get suicide ideations, yeah. Yeah. No. Thank you very much. Okay. If you've noticed, some people when they are stressed, they eat a lot. Some people don't eat. Some people, when they feel sad, some also get this delusion of unworthiness. They feel like they are not worthy of anything. So I'm not even worthy of the good food. I'm not worthy to eat. So I just want to be alone. I just want to sleep. And some have poor hygiene. And if you've noticed, most of us, when we don't brush and other things, when we don't clean our mouths well and other things, our appetites are not as enlightened as they are when we clean those things. So one aspect could be the physical care. When they have poor physical care, another aspect too could be the fatigue. They are too exhausted to do everything. And another aspect too is that the person doesn't even feel worthy, or sometimes the way we present the food to those people. Some people don't like bulky food, but hey, because the person doesn't eat, then they will heap the food for the person, and the person will like, hey, so they will just literally throw off. So you have to also, some people enjoy eating with people. When they eat with people, they're able to eat well. So in instances like this, you need to have time and then work with the person around their eating. And in some instances, people, when they get depression, they sleep too much, and then others also eat too much and they gain too much weight, and others don't sleep at all and then they don't eat and then it causes them to go skinny. Please, I hope that answers your question. All right, thank you very much. Yes, madam.
Thank you. So I have a quick scenario. I'll read it out. Once, when we were out for a team lunch, he threw the plate at the waiter because his order was not brought on time. We were shocked at his behavior. Over time, his behavior became unpredictable, and it affected his work and relationship with colleagues. Eventually, he was asked to leave the organization. I'm curious to know why he was behaving in such a manner. Thank you.
Okay. You see, we all handle stressful situations differently. I had a similar experience. I went to a place called Cass Valley on the Dodoa Road. I ordered food and it took 3 hours for the food to come. So before the food came, I had taken like 6 bottles of Fanta and meat pie. I was full. So the food came, I literally got up, took their fish and left. Yeah. How we handle stressful situations are different. You can order food, it doesn't come early. Maybe you won't get angry, but somebody will shout and all that. And then in the issue of mental health, we can switch off at any time. It can happen at any time. You just need something small to ignite something. So when something ignites something, the person is already willing to burst out, but he's looking for an avenue. He finds a weaker source, a waiter, who will literally not complain or throw anything back at me. So then I want to burst out. This is the perfect opportunity. Let me just burst out. So when things like that happen, it's not for us to expect them to do as we do, but it's for us to look for help for them. Try to encourage them that things can be better, and then we seek help for them. So this is some of the easiest way we can handle than allowing them to just be or expect them to get better. But we need to approach them, get help for them as we can, and also encourage them.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is a behavior that continued for several times. Could we say the person is suffering from bipolar disorder?
It could be. It could be, and it could also be a sign of other mental illnesses or substance use. Yes, or it could also be a sign of unworthiness. Some people, when they feel worthless, if most of you have experienced those people, some people don't feel too good about themselves. So in short, they will make you feel bad. They listen, they will come at you, start saying all sort of things at you. Yeah, so in these instances, we try psychotherapy first. When it's failing, we add up medications and we continue with psychotherapy.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
No other question? All right, Mr. Kweku Kingsley. I want to find out at what stage do I have to go to the hospital? Because I know that now counselors are all over. So if I'm going through depression, should I first have to seek a psychologist or a counselor first if it doesn't work before I come to the hospital?
Depression is a psychiatric problem. So mostly you need a psychiatrist first to diagnose the illness. Me and you, we can't just get up and say Kobana has depression. No. There is a criteria we use in diagnosing these illnesses. So the person must be seen by a psychiatrist. So for the conclusion to be drawn that yes, this is the illness the person is suffering from. Some of them can be treated with medication. So those ones we give medication. Others can be treated with talk therapy. So those ones they recommend talk therapy. But it's not every counselor that is versed in treating some illnesses. We have a clinical psychologist who is versed in clinical care. We have other sorts of counselors who will treat other things. So when we say we are seeking counselors, some of us make that mistake and we seek any counselor. And some people will do holistic treatment whilst others are doing other forms of treatment, which might affect us later. So when you don't feel so well, psychiatric hospitals are not camps. They will not catch you when you come. You just, they will not catch you when you come. When you feel so sad, they are online and all things. They have online services, so you can just get in touch with somebody. They will reach out to you. Somebody can come to you if you can't come. And then they will talk to you. They will do the necessary labs. If it's self-care, they will let you know to improve the self-care. If you need medical care, they will, because some medical illnesses have the symptoms that might mimic psychiatric problems, and then you take care of it. But then some of us, when we start seeking counselors online and around our houses, in the name of we are not feeling too well, sometimes it's not that you're not feeling too well. There's something going on in your body that you need to take care of. So when you hit the hospital, it's better. Yeah.
My last question. In your submission, you made mention of psychotherapy. Can you shed more light on that?
Okay, so in church, when you want to get married, you do counseling, right? Yeah, so in the hospital, when you have problems, you see somebody to talk to. That is psychotherapy. Yeah, just talking about your mind, talking to change your mindset to help you improve your mindset. Yeah, so that is psychotherapy. It's not any.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kweku Kingsley. All too soon, our time is up.